if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Okay guys, I'm back and it is Thursday, April 11th, and it's 9:09 p.m. Eastern Time. Now I am getting a little bit of a late start tonight, but I had a phone call that actually lasted quite a while from someone who wishes for me to call him only Agent School. I believe he told me that he wants to be called, but he has given me information in the past that has proven reliable, very reliable. I have no reason to doubt the information he's giving me, and there are links and so forth for me to check out for myself and kind of vet it before I do a show on any of this. But that's something to look forward to coming up, because over the next few days I am going to be looking into some of this. Some of it's new to me and some of it is not, but I'm going to be able to bring at least some of it to you in the next few days, hopefully. So we have that. Also, I did miss a Q post from yesterday, so we're going to go over that today, and we're going to go over the one drop from today as well from Q. Now, I did hope that I was going to be able to come back yesterday and post another Q related news, but I was not. I didn't get home until really late. If you listened to the video from yesterday, I had met a friend that was in the area from way out west, Kelowna, BC. We've been friends since teenagers, so it was very nice to catch up, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to do that. But we still have to get caught up with the Q-related news, because I want to keep us abreast of everything that's going on, and things are happening quickly. Now, I also want to note that if you're out there on Twitter or on any of the social media platforms right now, Q is taking a beating. I mean, big time. More so than Trump even. Q is really taking a beating. And surprisingly, it's coming from some people that one would have thought was in the movement. So just be careful. There's a lot of disinformation coming and happening right now. So be sure that you are listening to people that you trust. And I'm not saying that because I want you to listen to me, because I really hope that I'm not the only person that you get information from, that there are other people that you also trust and can, listen to them as well, to make sure that everything is kind of lining up and you're hearing the same thing, more or less. Some of us may give more detail on some things, and may have a little different angle, but we all should be saying basically the same thing. And I'm noticing a lot of people dropping out of the movement, a lot of people attacking the movement that were once in it, and I don't see any reason for that whatsoever, because I just don't think that their reasons are valid reasons, and I think that I'm getting more and more excited about what is coming and what I'm seeing. I'm getting only encouraged. And especially when you line up the Q drops with the news, you see how this just cannot be a coincidence. I'm sorry, it just can't be. Sure, okay, it could be a psyop. I know, people have said, yeah, but it could be a psyop. Sure it could, sure it could. But you know what? I'd rather follow Q and Trump than the other side. What choice do we have at this point? Ask yourself that. What are you going to do? I mean, there's no other alternative out there except for the Democrats, and I don't know what planet they're on. I don't. And we also have to keep in mind that this is a movie. Remember, how many times has Q told us this? It's a movie. Get your popcorn. What makes a good movie? Great actors, great script. A lot of this is scripted. A lot of it is acted. And we have to keep that in mind. When we see things that kind of contradict, like, for example, today, I went out and I read something, on Lindsey Graham's Twitter page, and I thought, that doesn't go along with the narrative that I think is going on. So it made me start to question. Then I realized this is a script. We don't always get the right information. We sometimes get a fake out. Q has said from the beginning, disinfo is necessary. So sometimes what we see around us is disinformation for a reason. We're not the only ones watching the 8chan board. That is for sure. The whole world is watching, and not the whole, it's not just the good people in the world that are watching that, it's the people that want to do us harm, want to do President Trump harm, members of the deep state. So we do have to keep that in mind, that this is a movie, it's a script, it has been planned out beforehand, and there is disinformation involved. Just like watching a good movie. You ever watched a good movie and you think all the way through something is happening and you think, oh yeah, that's the bad guy. But then, at the end there's a hook and you think, oh God, boy, was I ever wrong. And that's what makes a really good movie, because you're faked out at the end and it's like, man, I didn't think it was going to end like that. Well, the same here. And the other thing, well, we'll get to that in the second drop from Q. I'll mention that. But for right now, let's get to the drop from yesterday that Q did. And first of all, he provides a link to us, for us. And so we're going to go out and take a look at that. First of all, I hope everyone's doing all right this evening and doing well. It's been a busy week news-wise, and it's been a busy week for me. I feel like I've been spending more time, combing through news than I have actually bringing it to you, and I feel bad for that, but hopefully some of that time I've invested is going to pay off in the next few programs. At least that's what I'm hoping. So let's get at this. Q obviously thinks it's important, or he wouldn't have directed us to it. Now, Barr testifies spying did occur on Trump campaign amid reported review of informant's role. Now, this is from Fox News, and here we have a picture of Attorney General Barr, and Attorney General Bill Barr testified Wednesday that he believes spying did occur. And as you can see today, there's been a huge backlash from the Democrats against that, because they didn't like the fact that he said that spying did occur. Anyway, spying did occur on the Trump campaign in 2016 as he vowed to review the conduct of the FBI's original Russia probe, and the focus of a related internal review shifted to the role of a key FBI informant. I think spying did occur. The question is whether it was adequately predicated. I think it's my obligation. Congress is usually very concerned with intelligence agencies and law enforcement agencies staying in their proper lane. He testified before a Senate Appropriations Subcommittee while noting that spying on a political campaign is a big deal. Yeah, it is a big deal. That's why we had Watergate, and this is Watergate on steroids. This makes Watergate seem like a sand on the seashore, one grain of sand on a seashore. Seriously, Watergate greatly pales in comparison to what has went on in this campaign and what they have tried to accomplish in, it was a coup, really, an attempted coup. And I think history is not going to look favorably on those involved. I can guarantee that. All right, Barr vows Mueller report release within a week, and as Dems rip unacceptable handling at heated hearing. The comments follow a new report that the Justice Department's internal watchdog also is scrutinizing the role of an FBI informant who contacted members of the Trump campaign during the 2016 election as part of a broader review of the early stages of the Russia investigation. The New York Times reported that Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz is looking into informant Stefan Halper's work during the Russia probe, as well as his work with the FBI prior to the start of the probe. Halper, an American professor who reportedly is deeply connected with British and American intelligence agencies, has been widely reported as a confidential source for the FBI during the Bureau's original investigation into Russian meddling in the 2016 election. That official counterintelligence operation was opened by then senior agent Peter Strzok, who has since been fired from the Bureau. Excuse me. I knew that was coming. All right, now let's move down here. During the 2016 campaign, Halper contacted several members of the Trump campaign, including former foreign policy advisor George Papadopoulos. I didn't say it. And former aide Carter Page. Page also was the subject of several Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA warrants during the campaign, which is an issue at the heart of the IG's investigation. Republicans, including President Trump, have alleged misconduct in the Bureau Justice Department's handling of those FISA warrants, and there's no question about that. Excuse me. Forgive me. Nothing is more annoying than listening to somebody cough, unless it is listening to somebody cough over and over and over again. Hopefully this will get out of my throat, this little tickle or whatever it is. It was an illegal investigation. Everything about it was crooked, Trump told reporters on Wednesday, describing it as an attempted coup. And that's exactly what it was, and reiterating his interest in digging into the probe's origins. There is a hunger for that to happen. Yes, and that is not just a hunger on Trump's part or on the part of the Trump administration. It is a hunger by the American people. They want to know, especially those who support Trump, which is, by the way, over half, well over half of the American population support Trump and are for him, support his policies. So, yeah, we want to know. We want to know because, first of all, those people need to be punished. Justice needs to happen in this particular case as well. We need to keep it from happening again. We do not want this to ever happen to an American president again. It can't. It simply can't. The country cannot afford this kind of thing. You would not think would happen in America, and it actually, I think that's why it's so hard for some people to wake up, because it's hard for them to grasp that, yes, this is happening in America. This isn't a conspiracy. This isn't some wild made-up story. This happened. And it happened at the hands of people that we should have been able to trust. But that didn't happen. The Times, in its report, noted that Halper also contacted former Trump campaign aide Sam Clovis. It is unclear whether Halper had the FBI's permission to contact Clovis, according to the report. Horowitz, more broadly, is probing alleged wrongdoing related to the issuance of FISA warrants to surveil Page during the election. And of course, Carter Page was the very first FISA warrant, and that carries a lot of weight. That is what we really need to be declassified, that particular FISA, because that is the FISA on which all subsequent FISAs were predicated. During a prior hearing on Capitol Hill on Tuesday, Barr testified that Horowitz's investigation is expected to be complete by May or June. While vowing to release special counsel Robert Mueller's now completed Russia report in a matter of days, Barr also announced Tuesday that he was reviewing the origins of the Russian investigation at the FBI and the Justice Department amid mounting calls for scrutiny of the probe's beginning from Trump and prominent congressional Republicans. Gee, I wonder why the Democrats wouldn't be calling for that. You would think that they would, wouldn't you? Yes, I do realize that they're separate. They're separate and whatever, but aren't we all in the same boat? I mean, if you're on the Titanic and an iceberg strikes it, Doesn't matter which end of the boat you're at, does it? You're going down. So this is what I don't understand. And using that analogy, it's the same thing if you're on an airplane, and you're, on, it doesn't matter what end of the airplane you're on. If the pilot's going down, if there's something wrong with the airplane or there's something wrong with the pilot, you're all going down. Doesn't matter which end you're at. Might have a better chance at the tail, because I've never seen an airplane back into a mountain, but that's neither here nor there. The point is that generally, if most airplane crashes from, unless they're just taking off or landing, everybody goes. It doesn't matter what end of the plane you're at. So using that, you would think that the once this was found out, that there's no collusion, there's no obstruction of justice, and he was completely exonerated, and there's accusations of spying on a potential president, a presidential candidate, and a president, you would think the other side would go, well, if it could happen to him, it could happen to a Democrat president too, right? It could happen to the Democrats. If it's happened to the Republicans, couldn't it happen to the Democrats as well? You would think they would be concerned, because, okay, they may not like President Trump. They've made that abundantly clear, but hello, he's piloting the plane. I think we best support him. Anyway, also on Tuesday, Fox News reported that a source said Barr had assembled a team to investigate the origins of the Bureau's counterintelligence investigation into the Trump campaign. On Wednesday, Barr testified that he hadn't technically set up a team, but has colleagues helping him as he reviews the case. This is not launching an investigation of the FBI, he stressed. Frankly, to the extent there were issues at the FBI, I do not view it as a problem of the FBI. I think it was a problem, or probably a failure of the group of leaders, the upper echelons of the FBI. I think the FBI is an outstanding organization, and I am very pleased Director Chris Wray is there. And yes, I've never heard anything negative about Christopher Wray. In fact, remember, Q said, talked about rays of light, W-R-A-Y, rays of light. So Wray is a good guy, and no, I don't think that we should be aiming this at all FBI, because they're not all corrupt, not at all. But if the head, if the top, if the upper echelons of the FBI are crooked, whatever's at the top trickles down, So because they do what they're told. The underlings do what they're told, and if you have the crooked people at the top, so no, I don't believe all the FBI is crooked at all, not at all. I think probably most of the FBI are good people with good intentions. So he added, if it becomes necessary to look over formal officials, I expect to rely on Chris and work with him. I have an obligation to make sure government power is not abused, and I think that's one of the principal roles of the Attorney General. The FBI's 2016 counterintelligence investigation, formally opened by Strzok, began with a paucity of evidence, according to the former FBI counsel Lisa Page, with whom Strzok was romantically involved. During a closed-door congressional interview, Page admitted that the FBI knew so little about whether allegations against the Trump campaign were true or not true at the time they opened the probe, adding that they had just a paucity of evidence that we were just starting down the path of vetting allegations. I don't know who this guy is. I'd like to know, because I saw him somewhere else as well, but I don't know. Anyway, Paige, do you know who this guy is? Because I just saw him in another interview recently. Not him. Where did I go here? Anyway, Page also said in her interview that it was entirely common that the FBI would begin an investigation with a small amount of evidence. Barr's team will also review the FISA warrants issued against Carter Page. The issuance of the FISA warrants relied in part on the unverified anti-Trump dossier authored by ex-British intelligence agent Christopher Steele, who worked on behalf of Fusion GPS, a firm paid for by Hillary Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee through law firm Perkins Coie to do opposition research against the Trump campaign. In the dossier, Steele accused Page of conspiring with Russians. Page was not charged with any wrongdoing in either the FBI's Russia probe or Mueller's. And by the way, those who were indicted or whatever, none of it had anything to do with collusion. None of it. Some of it had to do with what they call process crimes, in that they may have, they were being interviewed and they may have misremembered something, a day, a time, whatever, and then they get charged with lying to, the FBI or whatever. Nobody has been charged with collusion. Nobody. There is no collusion. There is no evidence of collusion, not even this much. And Trump has been exonerated. So let's go down here. I think that goes through just about all we need to know. Also, House Intelligence Committee ranking member Devin Nunes said over the weekend he was preparing to send 8 criminal referrals to the Justice Department this week regarding alleged misconduct by the DOJ and FBI officials during the Trump-Russia investigation. It is unclear whom Nunes will refer for investigation and what the process at the Justice Department might be. When asked Tuesday about Nunes' referrals, Barr said he hadn't seen them yet, but obviously, if there is a predicate for investigation, it will be conducted. So, next to that, Q says, and let's go back here, panic in capital letters and bolded, panic, period. Yeah, I bet you they are panicking. They've been found out and they're trying to twist and turn, and I think when the Mueller report comes out, I think they're going to comb through that for anything they can grab onto and twist and make a new narrative out of. That is exactly what I believe we're going to see, because the Democrats are not going to give up, not ever. They are going to do what they do, and they do it very well. And they are helped along, of course, by the mainstream media, who is their little lapdogs. So we'll see what happens there, but I don't believe this is over. It doesn't matter that he has been declared innocent, that there's no collusion, there's no obstruction of justice, he's been exonerated. That's not good enough for the Democrats. No. So they're going to keep up doing what they're doing, and also it's going to keep on attacking Q, and that is where the focus right now is, because they know that there is good information, good intel coming from Q. They know that there is a whole movement around Q that is listening, and Q points us. He doesn't just come right out and tell us things a lot of times. He points us in the right direction, and actually I really enjoy the way Q, at first it was a little annoying, but now I realize how important it is, because what he does is he points us in the direction to information that's already out there. It's not like he's leaking information, really. He's pointing us to information that we would never have connected on our own. During when you're looking into all this and trying to decode all this stuff, then you're able to see it and go, oh my gosh, this stuff would not be out there if not for Q. And I think that they know that. They know very well that Q is real. Now, let's go to today's drop, and we will get into that, because that is exactly what it is about. This is from today, April 11th, and it says, if we are merely a LARP, and it says we, meaning Q team, because it is a team, it's not just one person. If we are merely a LARP asking questions on the chance, Why are we being attacked daily by some of the world's biggest media companies? Social media companies deliberately applying censorship, banning shills, paid shills, inserted to disrupt media matters, blue checkmark coordinated attacks, etc. All for a conspiracy on the Chans? All for a LARP? LARP being live action role playing, and which most of you know, but I do add some things from time to time because I know there are always new people coming in that are not aware of Q, and they're hearing for the first time all this stuff, and it's confusing. So yeah, it doesn't make sense that if Q was just a LARP, if it was a real conspiracy, if it was not really real, would anybody in media give it the time of day? No, I don't think so. Would they go to all the trouble that they've gone to insert things into the news about the MAGA hats and how dangerous they are, and about all this stuff about white nationalism, which is absolutely poppycock? You know, this just came out of the blue. It's like, I think they sit around and they think, well, this didn't work. What can we do next? Yeah, well, let's accuse the MAGA hat wearing patriots of being white nationalists, and let's make that a dirty word in the media, and let's equate that with racism in the minds of people, and every time they hear white nationalists, they'll think of the KKK, and they'll think of the nastiest racist Nazi type people, and let's associate that with Trump followers. I do. They just sit around and they dream up new ways, Anyway, all for a conspiracy on the Chans, all for a LARP. Why is there a constant flow of disinformation being pushed regarding Q? And there is. If you are on Twitter and you are active on Twitter, you'll see it. You'll see it every single day. And it's so obvious. Like I've said before, they need to hire shills with a little higher IQ. And I know that sounds mean, but honestly, these people are not the brightest. They're not the cream of the crop. They really aren't. Now, some are a little smarter than others, but most of them are, you can see through it immediately. So, disinformation push regarding Mueller is a white hat. Now, this, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that Q has addressed this, because lots of people have been out there saying, oh, Mueller was a white hat all along. And I'm thinking, I don't know, because this is the way I looked at it. I thought, okay, well, maybe Trump was making it seem like he was a black hat because it's part of the movie, it's part of the script, it's part of the disinfo. But I was arguing back and forth with myself, and I thought, I don't really want to bring that, because I don't know, I have a hard time with that. But now we know conclusively, Q just told us, the fact that people are saying Mueller is a white hat, that is disinformation push, and it's not coming from Q or his team. So, fake and false narrative. Think blockade. And who was blockade? Mueller. Well, how can a white hat be a blockade? That's a pretty ineffective blockade if he's a white hat, don't you think? Anyway, when you can attack the information directly, when you can't attack the information directly, you attack the source. If that fails, you create false, misleading information to discredit knowing, select, unaware followers would not take the time to self-corroborate the claims. Same vehicle tactics used by fake news media. So they can't attack the information directly. Why can't they attack the information directly? Because it's true. So they're not going to go after the information. They would be fools to go after the information, because that would draw more attention to the truth, right? So they're not going to do that. That's the last thing they're going to do. So what do? When you can't attack the information, you attack the source. You try to make the source seem like it's he, she, they are unreliable, right? They know full well the information is true. That's why they don't attack it. That's why they don't say, oh, come on, that's not true. No, they don't. They attack the source. They attack the source. Same thing in a court of law. If you've got attorneys arguing and you've got a witness, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to attack the credibility of that witness, right? Well, Q is a witness. He's witnessing. He's telling us stuff. He's telling us where to look for things. He's giving us information. No one can dispute that information, so they're going to make it seem like Q is an unreliable witness. And that's exactly what they're doing. So, and they're pushing the false narrative. Number one, the false narrative that Mueller was a white hat. He wasn't. He was black. He's a black hat. Now, when you can't attack the information directly, you attack the source. If that fails, you create false, misleading information. Now, that's where the shills come in, okay? So they're attacking the source. That's not working. That's not working because more and more and more people are joining the movement. So they're like, okay, we can't attack the information. It's not really helping us to attack the source. Okay, well, let's pay shills to just push disinformation. And some of those shills may even appear like they're on our side. They may even appear like they're patriots, like they are Trump supporters. But, and those are the most dangerous because people tend to, and I don't want to say that people tend to be lazy because I get it. I usually, most of my life, I work 2 and 3 jobs, and it's just because I'm very easily bored and I was always had a lot of energy. Not so much now, but this is a different time and I'm a lot older. But really, where was I going with that? Isn't that awful? Where was I going with that? I was going someplace with that. Oh, okay. This is where I was going. Most people, they work all day. Unless you're retired, you work all day. And, if you're got a younger family, you've got kids, they need to get to school. You've got laundry, you've got, groceries to buy, meals to make, kids to get lunches ready for. If your kids are young, you got to get them bathed and into bed. You've got all this stuff you have to do just to survive. You got to go to work. You got to gas your car. You got to wash your car. You got to get your tags. There's all sorts of, you got to pay your taxes. You've got all sorts of, stuff that must be done just in the process of living. By the time they get a couple seconds to themselves, they read something. Do you think they're going to have the time to check that out? No. So it's not always fair to just say, well, people are too lazy to check it out for themselves. No, I don't think that's always it. Some people just don't have the energy because it takes so much these days just to live. And with prices going up and up and up, more and more people are doing overtime on their jobs. They're taking on extra jobs just to survive. So it's not fair to say that everyone is just too lazy. I used to feel that way. I don't anymore. I really don't, because I put myself in a position of 10 years ago, would I have had the time to dig into these things? No, I wouldn't have. So there you go. Anyway, so that's what is happening. Shills, shills, shills everywhere you look. Be careful who you follow. That is what Q keeps telling us. When you can't attack the information directly, you attack the source. If that fails, you create false, misleading information via shills to discredit knowing, select, unaware followers would not take time to self-corroborate the claims. Some may be lazy. Some may not just have the time to do that. Same vehicle tactics used by the fake news media. Of course, you sit you know, after a long day, you are dead tired. You plop your seat down in front of the TV and you watch the news because you want to know what's going on in the rest of the world. You know what's going on in your little world. You know what's going on at work. You might know what's going on in your neighborhood, but you want to hear the news of the rest of the world. Do you have time to check out every single thing that's said? No, absolutely not. Logical thinking always wins. Nothing can stop what is coming. As the targets turn to the other side, the attacks will intensify. We have the source. Q. Who is the source? Who is the source he's talking about? Julian Assange. I believe that with all my heart. That is exactly, he wouldn't, if he was talking about the Q team, he wouldn't say, you know, we have the source. The source is Julian Assange, and they have him. They have him. He's being extradited to the United States, and I think that all is well and good there. And we're going to talk about that in our Q-related news coming up. So I'm going to sign off now for this, the Q post-related part of it, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you some Q-related news. We're going to talk about Julian Assange and what is happening there, and a few other things, but that is, I think, one of the most important things, and I may even do that as a completely separate video, and then do a Q-related news, because there's a lot to get to. I don't want to cram too many topics into one video because it gets lost, and I want the message to get out. So there you go. But that's it for this this video, and I'm so glad that you stopped in to listen. I really do like company, and I hope to see you back. And I guess that's it for now. But come on back, because seriously, you know you want to hear what's next. Sure you do. I will see you real soon.